Hi, the old school therapist here, and Joybug, and today's life topic is about making a plan for when you are attending social gatherings or events, especially with the holiday season coming up. And it's just helpful, really, anytime we have an event to go to if we're feeling a little bit anxious about the dynamics or what will be going on at that particular event. It's good to have a plan. So that's what we're going to talk about. I'm going to focus mainly on helping people have a plan that are in recovery from an eating disorder or struggle with disordered eating, because I've specialized in that area and also I'm in recovery myself. However, if you struggle with anxiety, social anxiety when you go to events, or you're in recovery from another addictive cycle and you think it would be helpful to make a plan before you go to events, then maybe you could modify some of my suggestions to meet your needs and what you would need to do to prepare ahead of time. So the first thing is you want to prepare yourself and be at a strong place prior to going to an event or a gathering. And what I mean by that is if you are in recovery from an eating disorder, you want to already be pushing back. As one of your recovery skills, you already want to be pushing back on that eating disorder voice. That eating disorder voice is a liar. And it's really going to get loud before the holidays, before you go to social events. And so you already want to be in a habit, of pushing back on your eating disorder voice, not ever letting your eating disorder voice have the last word. Okay? And so sometimes even if you can anticipate what your eating disorder voice is going to say to you, you could write a script and have a pushback, a comment back to your eating disorder voice for everything you think it's going to tell you. So the eating disorder is going to probably say, hey, you need to restrict or cut way back on your food intake, or you have to run 5 miles, something to that degree before you go to a social event or gathering. And that is just going to strengthen the eating disorder voice. So you want to push back and say, no, you know what? It's one dinner, it's one lunch event. My body knows what to do with that extra nourishment, those extra calories. I don't have to restrict. I can just enjoy myself, and my body knows what to do with all those extra calories. I'm not going to gain 10 pounds in one dinner. So you want to push back with the truth. You also want to try to distract yourself. So prior to going to a social event, you want to distract yourself and be doing some fun stuff in your daily routine before you go. So it's to really help your eating disorder not try to hold you hostage with ruminating thoughts and trying to play all these different scenarios that are going to happen during that event. So try to stay busy, try to distract before you go to your social gathering or event. And then you want to make sure that you are following your meal plan. You are following your meal plan the day before, even hours before you have your event. You want to make sure you're doing meals and snacks. And again, not giving your eating disorder voice any leverage, any power. You just want to continue with your recovery plan and not allow the eating disorder to try to convince you to do something otherwise to prepare for this event and whatever social gathering you're going to. Once you're there at your social event and gathering, it's good to kind of just walk around and get a sense of the layout, so to speak. And most events have a buffet. And if you are attending with somebody that you feel safe with and that you trust, let them plate your food at the buffet. And maybe also make sure that you have somebody that you feel supported by and safe with to sit next to at the table. Now, if you're attending by yourself, then sense the people that are having fun and just easygoing at the event and try to sit yourself next to them. Try not to sit next to somebody that you can tell is also stressed out and just having a hard time dealing with that event as well, because sometimes that can raise your anxiety level. You also want to build a plan while you're there to take a break from conversations or interactions. If you start to see your anxiety is building, or you're feeling a bit triggered, then you want to build in a plan to take a break. If you're at somebody's house, go for a walk, go out on the porch. Maybe you find a board game. If you're at somebody's house, start playing a board game, watch a movie. A lot of times people have movies that are going on while they're hosting an event, or watch a football game. Playing with kids. I've had clients that they just go and play with the kids at the event, because kids are just in the moment and they're having fun and they're a good distraction. Or maybe if they've got dogs, you volunteer to go walk the dog or throw a ball for the dog. Just find a way to build breaks and create some space for yourself if you can during that event. If you're at a hotel for a party, you can just leave the party room for a little bit and go walk around the lobby and maybe people watch and just take a break. Or if you can get to your car, if you really feel like you need to ground yourself at a certain event and you can get back to your car, go to the car and turn on some tunes and listen to a playlist that you have that's calming music, and maybe you look at some pictures on your phone that are calming, ocean scenes or nature scenes or videos of animals, something like that. You might also have some essential oils. I mean, they're small. You can have like an anxiety toolkit in your car. You can have some essential oils that you maybe dot inside your wrists or right here by your nostrils, and deep breathe and ground yourself, and then you can go back to the event. So you want to also have, if you've got a friend there, maybe have a code word. If you need to exit the party early, or also want this friend to take a break with you and go for a walk, maybe have a code word or some way to communicate with one another that you want to leave that gathering for a little bit. So after you've attended your event, if you want to have some extra support when you go home, then plan for that. Maybe have a friend come over and you make some tea or whatever, or watch a movie. If you feel like you still need to have some extra support and after the event and distraction, then do that. That's a great thing to do. Then the day after, you want to make sure that you get back to your recovery routine and your meal plan, and you stay with the structure that you've built for your recovery, because the eating disorder is going to try to convince you to restrict the day after, or to do some type of behavior to compensate for the meal or meals that you had when you were at your gatherings and your events. And you don't want to do that. You want to just get back to the structure that you had, and you want to shut down that eating disorder voice. Remember, just because you have urges and thoughts doesn't mean you're not in recovery. You are in recovery. And it doesn't mean that you have to listen to those urges and thoughts. See, the eating disorder voice is very sneaky. It lies. Everything the eating disorder voice says is a lie. And you don't have to listen to the eating disorder voice. You can push back, shut it down. You also don't have to act on the urges and the thoughts. You can choose not to. The eating disorder tries to convince us that we really have to follow through, but we don't. And so I just want you to feel empowered, because the eating disorder can be very convincing and very sneaky. And I want to remind you that the addictive cycle, any addiction that we're struggling with, is not as strong as we are. It tries to convince us. But an addiction is just, it's a collection of painful feelings and thoughts that are still bound up together and that we have used to try to manage life. And it's not as strong as we think it is. It tries to convince us. Remember, we're made in the image of God. We're made in the image of the creator of the universe, the intelligent designer. And an addiction is not made in the image of God. We are. So we are much more powerful and stronger than our addiction. And don't believe the BS that addictive voice tries to tell you. So just sit down and think about the plans that you have coming up for the holidays, and whether it's family gatherings or with coworkers or just out with friends, and what plan do you need to make for each event so you feel empowered and you feel confident going in that you can navigate it and you're going to manage it, and you're going to also allow yourself to enjoy your time during that event and make memories, because the eating disorder and any addiction has tried to steal too much from us, and we're not going to let them, the addictions steal any more, starting with these holidays. So, Joybug, I think, is snoring down here. If you found this video helpful, which I hope you did, please subscribe and also leave your comments, and I will see you next time. Take care, and I hope you have great holidays. Bye.